I'm Thomas Edwards, creator and author of The One Up Effect, helping high-performing professionals with families have fun becoming their best self through purpose, play, passion, and performance.
Somebody out there is probably going to go, well, that sounds like we're just relieving ourselves of our obligations to get rid of our expectations. How would you respond to that? Like, because I mean, we do have, like, I got to get up and go to work every day, you know, and I got to help my wife with this house because she's a full-time teacher and a full-time student. Like, so there are expectations that we have in life. Where do you go with this?
So the immediate thing I would say is stop thinking about what you have to do and start thinking about what you get to do, right? Like, you get to wake up and go to work, right? You get to have a job that pays really well and supports your family, right? You get to be in a marriage with someone that absolutely adores you, right? You get to have kids that can't wait for you to come home from work, right? Like, you get to have, fresh air that you can breathe, right? You get to have food, like, you start to shift from what you feel like you have to do, which then creates these expectations, right? Because expectations will exist whether we create them or not, right? But when you shift from a place of having to do something to getting to do something, what you're doing now is you're practicing gratitude, right? And gratitude is a stress reliever. I like it. Gratitude is a way that can tap into your happiness, right? And your sense of fulfillment and connection, right? So when you get to do something, it completely changes your perspective of how you choose to approach it. Now there's a chance that you actually get to assess, like, is there a little joy in here in me being able to get to do this? And if there isn't, where can I find the joy? Or how can I create the joy in what I get to do? Because there might not be you may not have a life right now where everything that you do throughout the day is something that you love doing. So how do you, like you said, how do you reconcile that? Well, you start the shift to gratitude of being grateful that you get to do something like that, because who knows, the next day, it might be layoffs, and all of a sudden you don't get to do those things anymore at your work because you don't have a job, right? So you get to do those things. And when you're in that mindset, you're now able, what's happening is when you're practicing gratitude, you're using different parts of your brain, right? And so instead of thinking about what you're trying to, like, when you have to do something, you're trying to, like, get through. It's like Mario, right? It's like that last life. You're not trying to really take full advantage of what that level has to offer for you, right? It has to offer you. But when you get into a place of gratitude and you're like, I get to do this, your mind shifts into a place of, like, you can become more curious. You start to be more wondrous and explore, what parts of this experience am I getting to enjoy, really? And you just make it a practice. You're not going to nail it the first time. I'm a big believer of sustainable progress over unsustainable perfection. Like,
that's what my coach tells me.
Yeah, right. Like, you really just focus on one small thing, and that's your win for today. And let that be the focus, so that way you continue to feel this sense of gratitude of getting to do something. And once again, if you can learn to shift from immediate reference points to more absolute reference points, like for me, being 3+ years sober, like, if I ever feel like I'm having a hard time with life and I feel overwhelmed, I look back to January 12th, 2019 as an absolute reference point of, like, wow, my life was awful then. My life is, like, unrecognizable to that point. So there's a lot for me to be grateful, between now and then, and so I always look for immediate absolute reference points in my life that can show how much transformation I've already made, even though I'm still on the journey towards greater transformation.
Yeah, I like it, man. People will talk, you'll hear it all the time about practicing gratitude. And it's almost like it's put out there as a part of a morning ritual. Like, you get up in the morning and you got to come up with like 5 things or whatever that you're grateful for. And it just kind of gets your mind set into motion. But we never hear about continuing to practice gratitude, even in things that you're not really, if you're being honest, so grateful for. You know what I mean? Like, hearing a little bit when my wife's getting after me about the fact that I left my dirty socks on the floor, I'm going to tell her, You should be grateful that you have an awesome husband who puts his feet in those socks. You know what I mean? No, but like seriously though, like there are
Yeah.
things that are a part of my day, especially when I get home at the end of the day and it's been a long day and I've been on my feet and it's a labor intensive job and I want to check out so bad when I get home.
Yeah.
But I got to remind myself that that's where the real work starts, because when I walk through the door, I'm hanging up my worker hat and I'm putting on my father hat, my husband hat, my homeowner hat, you know what I mean? My
Yeah.
influencer hat, like all these other hats all day at work. I've really just been wearing one, maybe two hats.
Yeah.
But instead of seeing the fatherhood hat, the husband hat, the homeowner hat, the influencer hat as an obligation, to try to find gratitude in that I get to be a father. You know, I get to influence
Yeah.
these kids in a positive way. I get to come home and help my wife because she's been working so hard all day on different things and she needs help here at the house, you know. And I'm actually, every one of these episodes that I do, they're all good. Like from start to finish, they're always good. But there's usually one little nugget that's for me,
Mhm.
that gets dropped for me.
Yeah.
And I think that was the one for me, Thomas, is
Awesome.
you know, not just doing your gratitude ritual in the morning, but anytime you are confronted with something that wants to steal your joy or steal your happiness or frustrate or upset your day, find the gratitude for something to be grateful for in that moment, you know, and it'll totally shift the mindset and actually probably give me energy and a mindset to, you know, do that task, whatever it is, with a
Yeah.
better attitude and see more productivity as a result of it, man.
Yeah. Gratitude, is an easy way to, I was kind of hinting at willpower. I said willpower a couple of times. Willpower is energy, and it's finite, but when we don't have, like when you come home from work after a labor intensive day, your willpower is pretty low, which means that your ability to make decisions in the moment isn't great. Right. And so you think, okay, like, how am I going to rest and recharge? Well, you do it by checking out, right? That your mind can easily make that connection, that if I
Mhm.
just allow myself to do what I want, which is really what you want, right? You just want a little bit of autonomy. You've been spending a lot of hours doing what someone else wants,
Right.
right? You want to come home and have a little bit of autonomy, right? Which is totally fine. But you can combine that autonomy with what you get to come home to,
Yes.
right? You get, and you may want to be home with your wife and your kids. And when you
Yeah.
feel that gratitude, your willpower does increase and your decision making and your ability to be present is still there, And so think of each day, and I talk about this in my book, like each day, imagine you have like a health bar, right? Like just like in a game, right? And there's things that you do that happen throughout the day that will deplete your health bar. And usually it's based on what other people want of you, right? Things that your wife asks you, your kids, your work, other people, that's what's going to deplete your health bar. And what I found most people don't do is they don't do anything for themselves throughout the day to replenish that health bar, right? And so by the time they're done with the day, they got nothing left for themselves. So of course they're going to check out. Of course they're going to feel burned out because their health bar is like at 1. I can't say
Yeah.
0 because then you're dead, right? Like, and to be even on serious notes, like there's some people who burn themselves out to the point of death, right? Like it's a real thing. And so, and then we think sleep is what recharges us. It's only part of it. But then we wake up feeling, okay, our health bar is full. Maybe it's full-ish because, if you don't get a good night of sleep, and then you do the whole thing over again. But the problem is our output based on this way of living will always exceed our input. So it's inevitable that we're going to burn out. It's inevitable we're going to want to check out because at some point our mind is going to say, I need to take back control of my life. I need to do something, and take back a little bit of autonomy. I need a little bit of choice and agency in my life because I feel like a slave, like you said.
I love it,
Right.
bro.
So that's what's going to happen. But when you
That
have these practices throughout the day, right, whether it's, expressing that gratitude, maybe you could even be sending a message to your spouse or your kids, expressing how grateful and appreciative you are of them or checking in with them. right? Like, or it could be going for a walk or doing 10 push-ups, or it could be drinking a glass of water. It could be praying. It could be meditating. I mean, there's so many things. We typically think, okay, if I do all these things in the morning, because it's a part of my morning ritual, I'll be good to go. But like, that's just maybe 15 to an hour of your day. Life will always have a way of challenging you, because that's what life is. And it's in those moments where if we had more practices that we can implement, it'll keep our health bar at a really good level. So by the time you get home, your body might feel tired, right? Because you put in a lot of work and energy, but mentally and spiritually, soulfully, you're still there to give a lot, because that's ultimately what your family is looking for, not just a body, right? But your presence, and you can give that,
I love it. And I love how you go back to the game analogy with the health bar and all that stuff. No, that was definitely the nugget for me for sure on this one, is that practicing, and I even wrote it down, when I look at those obligations, not as obligations, but with a sense of gratitude, it gives me back the autonomy, because I don't have to come home and be all of those different things for someone else. After being something for someone else all day, I am choosing to be this, and I get my autonomy back.
Please like, subscribe, hit that bell, get notified when we put out videos, which happen almost every single day. And if you found this video interesting or inspiring, please share this with someone who might find this interesting or inspiring too. I'd love to hear what they have to say and get them in on the conversation. And if you want the exact process and science behind reducing stress, virtually eliminating burnout, and learning how to have fun creating more success in your health, wealth, self, family, marriage, career, business, and not feel the need to have to sacrifice your personal happiness or your professional ambition, you can go to thomasedwardsjr.com. Once again, this is Thomas Edwards reminding you to make life a game that you can win and have fun playing. Until next time, I'll see you around.